Alright, we just picked our house up. Wasn't sure what it was gonna look like, but what'd you think, Jordan?
It looks awesome!
Thank you so much. So we appreciate it. This is cool. Check it out.
We were on the road again, with a quick pit stop to pick up the bus, and then we're heading west for the rest of the summer. This time we were making our way to Utah for a pack rafting trip in Moab. Since we don't exactly fly while traveling in the bus, we opted to make a few outdoor pit stops along the way. I absolutely love driving. I get to reflect on the magic we just experienced, sing a few good tunes, plan for what's next, and just take the time to slow down and breathe while this beautiful country passes me by. Our first night was a part of Oklahoma that was new to me, so we used our recreation.gov app and found a killer lake away from the busy highway pace. We got some good rest, made a big breakfast, and stretched our legs before climbing into Colorado. Now, some folks might think the dangerous part about these episodes are when we were having fun outside, but truthfully, the most stressful thing we've done so far is drive a school bus that we bought off Facebook Marketplace for $3 grand over mountain passes in Colorado. And God for a bourbon sponsor, right? After getting halfway through the state, we would break the trip up with a pit stop at a very special place to me, the Great Sand Dunes. My legendary pal David Freilich showed up with a bunch of sandboards and a challenge to climb the 10,000-foot Star Dune, riding off the top. Sold. We'd cook up a big family-style breakfast and then head for the dunes before the sun could heat the sand up too much.
So it's a pretty long drive from Arkansas to Utah, so of course we made a pit stop. We've got some homies in Colorado.
Yeah!
What's up?
Chris and Jesse.
And we thought that we would meet up with some more people and go climb some sand dunes and ride down them on sandboards. So
here we go.
Here we go.
Alright y'all, this is what's up. This guy here picked up a bunch of sandboards. We're gonna go climb the tallest dune over there, race down it. Loser buys beer.
Sounds good.
Alright.
This high point you see right here is not the actual high dune. So see to the left where it's more gentle going up?
Yeah.
That'll lead us more directly to the high dune. And as you can see, there are almost no people that way.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's the best option for today.
Trust in Freilich we shall.
Putting on the sunscreen. We are wide open in the sun right now, super exposed. This is awesome stuff. It's SPF 30 and it stays on all day. You don't really have to reapply, but it never hurts to.
Steve was the only one smart enough to bring a long layer with
I know.
him. I left mine at home.
Trying to.
If you want a good workout, climb a mountain made of sand. We picked our line up the ridge and enjoyed a few good breaks on our way to the top. As we got higher, the views of the Sangre de Cristos pop up over the horizon and fire us up to keep going. It turns out sandboarding is nothing like snowboarding. You don't really have much control. But doing ridiculous things outside with my friends never ever fails to fill my cup. After a few fun runs, the sand started to heat up, so we started heading back for the cars. About halfway to the car, we are reminded why we are always extra cautious in Colorado. One of those classic afternoon Rocky Mountain thunderstorms was about to hit, and we were grateful to be getting back below the tree line.
It's time to head back to the car, y'all. It's not looking good.
There's a ton of fun to be had out here in Colorado, but it is also a very serious place. If you come, do your homework, bring extra water, try to be below tree line by early afternoon if you decide to climb up high. And you also have to be aware that at higher elevations, the sun is a lot stronger. Shout out to Sawyer for keeping these pale legs protected. Those storms hung around for the rest of the day, but it was a welcome break from the sun and allows us time to seek shelter with some of the best people around. I'm reminded again of the power of trail family. The next morning we made an early start towards Moab. Wolf Creek Pass probably took 3 years off my life, but man is it pretty in the early summer. Soon enough the lush greens would fade and the bus would descend even further into the Red Rock Canyon country of Utah. It was the time of year that things would start to really heat up in the desert, but we had a plan to beat the heat.
Obos Footwear. We plant a tree for every pair sold. 1 million and counting. That's a lot of f***ing trees.
Whether you want to discover locals-only backroads with a field map or you use a topography map to plan your next backpacking trip, Maps.com has thousands of options to choose from. Unlike your phone, printed maps are waterproof and guaranteed not to run out of batteries or service. So next time you want to head out on an adventure or even just a drive around town, leave your digital devices at home and grab your old trusty printed map and see what kind of fun you can get into.
At Mystery Ranch, we build the best load-bearing backpacks in the world. We design for some of the most demanding users on the planet. We build for a different kind of customer, for folks who inspire us, and for people with a job to do. We work directly with them to really understand their needs. We build with the best materials available and the most durable construction methods that exist, so our users can achieve their mission, whether it's on the front line, the fire line, the cleanest line, or the steepest line. Mystery Ranch, built for the mission.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Before we get back to our episode, I want to share with you guys some exciting news we've got this season. All of our brand partners have super awesome gear and they've decided to share that gear with you. So we're having weekly sweepstakes where you have the chance to win some of that gear. So make sure you sign up for that. Also starting next week on Mondays and Fridays, we're going to have shorts that'll be anything from tips and tricks from our editorial staff to deeper dives into our brand partners. So make sure you stay tuned for that bonus content there. And make sure you also like, subscribe, follow along, leave us a comment so you can stay up to date with everything going on. And if you see us out on the road, say hello. We're about to head over to Sylvan's house to meet up with everybody and get all of our gear together, and just wanted to really quickly show you guys one of my favorite features about the Leatherman. It's got this carabiner on the side here. This is one of those things that I feel like I'm going to lose constantly, and if I were to lose it, it would be pretty detrimental. So I like the carabiner feature because I can just clip it to my hip belt and it's easily accessible, and I know it's always going to be there and it's not going to go anywhere.
We've been preaching about our Mystery Ranch packs for 2 years now, but nothing says most badass packs in the world like filling them with 60 to 80 pounds of gear, hucking them down canyons, and taking the pack rafts that fit into the expandable frame now does it. Oh, and I'm real excited about our guest for this one. I told Katie Webster at Cocopelli my idea, and she responded with, "Sweet, I'm in. I'll bring the snacks." Spontaneous people, you are the best. Ones that pack snacks, even better. We would also be joining up with 2 local guides I look up to, Sylvan Christensen and Mercedes Carlson.
All right, here's the scoop. Throwing some pack rafts in our Mystery Ranch TerraFrame packs. We've met up with Katie from Cocopelli over here, and we have Sylvan and Sadie.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to get out there with them.
We would pack gear and go over our maps over around Yellowstone, making sure everything was in order before we hit the trail. That night on our way home, we noticed that the LaSalle mountain range was on fire. Our bus was just parked up there the day before, and seeing Moab's one slice of wooded landscape burn down killed me. We learned this fire was caused due to a camper that left their fire unattended, and the wind blew coals out of the fire, setting the forest ablaze. If you are watching this and consider yourself an outdoor steward, make sure that you have a way to put out your fire before you even light it. Check if it's going to be windy, assign someone in your group to be in charge of your fire, making sure that the last one up knows how to put it out, and speak up if you think the fire's getting too out of control. Something we do that when we're traveling, if we're in an area that doesn't allow fires, we just have a little candle lantern that we like to put up and still get that warm ambiance and flicker of a flame. But I'll tell you what, sometimes it's nice to just save wood and enjoy the stars too. The next morning smelled of smoke, but our put-in was over an hour away, so we headed out before the sun came up to beat the heat on our hike in.
All right, so we are headed to the trailhead here on the planet of Tatooine. We've got a 3-ish mile hike in. We're gonna rappel 100 feet down to the water, and then we're gonna paddle the next 2 days, I think about 25 miles. And we're getting pretty excited. It's a good day. It's a little smoky, but the weather's a lot cooler than it has been, so we're not gonna fry.
Alright, we just got to our spot. We're going to hike in a couple miles to our put in. We've all got our pack rafts strapped into our mature range bag, and we've got a rappel to go, and then we're going to book it about 22 miles down the river.
We double check our water, gear, and maps and head 2 miles down into the canyon. Our route showed a few big drops, so Sylvan packed ropes and some canyoneering gear as well. We'd also add to the sufferfest by packing tons of water. Filtering on the river can be difficult, and sometimes the springs are not guaranteed to be flowing in the desert. Sometimes in a canyon you don't get a trail, you just learn to shimmy and shift and be real grateful for a shoe sponsor like Oboes. At some points the trail would get too steep or too tight, so we quickly became an assembly line and helped send packs down or ahead. We spotted each other, and before we knew it, we arrived at our first set of cliffs to rappel.
What do you think about this canyoneer trip?
I like it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
This is very different than our typical
very-
jaunt in the woods, yeah.
Very different, yeah. I've never done anything like this before.
Sadie took Sage and showed me how to rappel with a dog. I'm familiar with rappelling, but I must admit, doing it with the German Shepherd in my lap is a bit new to me. Sylvan tied me a third handbrake, and me and Kane scooted down the cliff. Once we got past our 2 rappels, the canyon started to open up, and before you knew it, oaks and greens started to pop up all over the canyon floor. A surefire sign we were getting close to the river. Just as the sun began to start baking, we found ourselves at the entrance to the river, unpacked our rafts, and got to inflating. We got 22 miles of paddling the Green River ahead of us.
All right, y'all, we just made it down the canyon. It's greened up down here. We survived the rappels. We've got one boat that we may have put a little hole in, but we're patching that up right now. And then we're getting on the water.
Recreation.gov is your one-stop shop when it comes to planning your next adventure. With over 4,000 facilities and activities around the country, including camping, rafting, horseback riding, and much, much more, at over 100,000 recreation locations, they've got you covered. Using all of the tools, services, and information on their site, you can dream up your next trip and then go live it.
From the moment you wake to the fuel you need. From ingenious products that empower true adventure to simple gear that enables fun. Products that perform in any terrain, anywhere, for anyone. A relentless ally for your adventures. The adventures that live inside us all.
You can't take full advantage of hiking if you don't take good care of your feet, and that's why we love Darn Tough so much. Made in Vermont, they knit category-specific socks from a merino wool blend in a variety of fun colors and designs. Best of all, Darn Tough offers an unconditional lifetime guarantee on all of their socks. If If the pair you buy aren't the most comfortable, durable, and best fitting socks you've ever owned, return them for another pair. No strings, no conditions, socks guaranteed for life. To learn more about Darn Tough socks, go to www.darntough.com or click the link in the description below. Lakey expands its groundbreaking cross trail line to include a traditional trekking 3-section configuration. Featuring the innovative hybrid cross shark grip, it offers the speed and power transmission of the Trigger Shark system, combined with the support of an ergonomic hiking grip for additional support and comfort on descents. The breathable strap features a wide support area for effective power transfer and a secure fit. The sweat-absorbing grip allows for maximum control, and the length adjustment is made easy and secure with the Speed Lock 2 on 100% high-modulus carbon shafts for lightweight durability.
Just the next 2 days like this, Kane. What do you think, buddy? You into it?
We finally made it to the water. Now it's time to blow up our pack rafts, climb in, and float down this river for the next 2 days. I am a huge fan of overnight river trips. You get to see things that are only accessible by water, you get to use muscles you don't normally use, and you get to bring more gear and food than you would on a normal backpacking trip. In fact, I brought so much more gear than usual that I was feeling a little bit unsure about fitting all of my things into my raft, along with myself and Sage. But since the gear actually goes inside the raft, we had plenty of room, and once the initial confusion of what was happening wore off, Sage was quite the adorable companion to have on the raft with me. And just chill and let the river take us down at its own pace. There were plenty of places along the banks to set up camp, and we hadn't really seen a lot of people, so we decided to just float and talk until we made it about halfway, and then decided it was time to stop for the night. Sylvan found us an incredible place to stay, and after we brought our rafts ashore and got all our gear, we split up to set up our homes for the night. One of our favorite features about this tent actually is the ability to put it into stargazer mode, and we're in the perfect place to do that. And basically all you have to do is unclip the sides and roll it up. And if you get cold in the middle of the night, if it starts raining in the middle of nowhere, you can just put it back down really easily. You can actually do it from inside of the tent. So it's a really easy way to watch the stars. After putting up our tents and getting settled, we all came back together and cooked up our meals for the night. And Steve and I decided to sit under the stars for a while before heading to sleep. There really is nothing in this world quite like being able to fall asleep under a giant blanket of stars.
What tools do we use to mark the way? We mark time by days, weeks, and years. But the stuff we remember, the good stuff, we mark by moments. Moments where we're challenged and overcome. The kind that get dirt under our nails and fire in our hearts. We believe that every problem has a solution, and that every solution is a moment where we prove who we are. These are moments made.
Since 1984, Sawyer has manufactured gear for outdoor enthusiasts that expect the best. We are an independent brand dedicated to developing and creating technically better protection for everyone. So when you buy Sawyer products, you're not only protecting the ones you love, you're helping protect millions of people lacking access to clean water. And you're helping us to do more. Protect more, give more, and innovate more, which helps us be more than an outdoor company.
Yellowstone Bourbon is handcrafted in the state of Kentucky. These small batch whiskeys are the work of 7th-generation craftsmen, resulting in a unique taste, perfect for the trail. Plus, a portion of every bottle sold goes to helping preserve our national parks. cheers to that. To learn more about the products from Yellowstone Bourbon, head on over to limestonebranch.com or click the link in the description below.
I climb out of the tent and gaze out at the orange sandstone walls that surround us, and I feel completely at peace. I feel my stomach grumble, and I realize it's time to start making one of my all-time favorite trail breakfasts, bacon pancakes.
All right, so we rolled in last night, made a quick meal, and we were pretty spent, so we got some rest, woke up, saw stars, and now we're gonna make some pancakes, drink some coffee, and pack up and hit the river. It's starting to warm up pretty quick.
This is one of my favorite things to make out in the backcountry. It's super easy. We're making bacon pancakes this morning, and I basically just bought the shake and bake pancakes and put them in a bag because it's easier trash-wise, and then you add the water to it. There is a do-yourself recipe of this that I'll post on the Jetboil website. That way, if you want to make it yourself, you can. And we're gonna add bacon to the mixture, and then you can top it with syrup or Nutella. I'm using the Jetboil frying pan with the Maximo for this, and got a little oil to cook the pancakes in, and that's pretty much it. Another thing to note, if you hear that hissing noise, that does not mean that it's not working, that just means keep twisting it. Look at him make the swirl.
All right, Miss Katie, you got to sleep in the new Sea to Summit tent last night. What'd you think? Stargazer mode's pretty cool, eh?
Stargazer mode's pretty sweet. I do like having a one-bedroom apartment when I'm camping.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
And what about them breakfast pancakes?
No complaints here.
All good. Yeah, you look happy.
All good. Obvious backcountry food necessity.
All right, day 2, back on the water. Floating with Sage today. Try to keep her calm. She was a little nervous yesterday. But yeah, we've got 11 miles to go, and I just want to say a big thank you to Sawyer. This sunscreen has kept us all from burning. I'm Irish, so you know I need that. But yeah, we've got 11 miles with this girl and the rest of our crew. We had crazy stars last night. Just absolutely in love with this river.
The sun has finally made an appearance over the top of the canyon, and it brings heat with it. So I welcome the cool water as I get into my raft and corral Kane in with me this time. Both pups seem slightly unsure of what to make of floating on a raft, but they climb in without hesitation, and after a while even seem to enjoy themselves too. The desert can be a beautifully harsh environment that is not to be taken lightly. If you're not properly prepared, you can get yourself into a bad situation very quickly out here. Yet Sylvan and Sadie love it. There's definitely some kind of magic in these walls and in this dry, arid environment, and you can see the sparkle in their eyes when they talk about it.
I'd say my favorite part is being able to find a really quiet corner just about any direction that you go, getting away from everything, basically.
My favorite part about this area is the diversity. There's so much to do, so many activities going on. You can just choose your season, choose your activity, and dive into it, get lost in it.
After paddling and floating for a few more hours, we finally round a curve and see Katie's car that we dropped off a couple days ago to set our shuttle for this trip. Just got off the river, another very chill day, and we're just packing everything up, and then we gotta get our shuttle. We deflated our rafts and piled all of the gear, humans, and dogs into that car and started the crazy drive back into town. Once we get back to Sylvan's house, we unpack Katie's car and make sure all the gear goes back to its original owners and say goodbye to Sylvan and Sadie.
Another reason to really get to know your maps and the desert in particular, water is pretty important. You got to know where your water's coming from. You also got to know when to get off of this river.
Yeah.
If we were to miss our exit and keep going, we could get into some serious whitewater that we and the dogs and our pack rafts probably wouldn't be equipped for. Other things, you know, with a river, not all maps have this. Luckily, we've got some friends at maps.com with some rather good markings on them. But you know, sometimes your riverways aren't marked. You know, when we walk a trail, it'll have mile markers in between turning points, or sometimes every mile, depending on the map you have. Something we like to do though, if we're working with water, is bring a string and match that string to our scale. As you can see, we've got 3 miles on this one. So we've got a piece that's 3 miles, and then we've also got a longer piece. And we can kind of wiggle that with the river to kind of plan out our days to see what they might look like. You don't want to get yourself into anything too crazy before you get out on the river or overcommit. It's really hot out here right now, so we want to look for our campsites and plan accordingly.
We are back home after an awesome few days. This might be one of my favorite trips that I've ever done in my life. Actually, this was a really unique experience. And I just wanted to talk about a few pieces of gear that were really important. We had, you know, the extra weight of our pack rafts on us this time, and so my oboes shoes came in handy a lot with the extra ankle support. And I have the high top ones on this trip, but a really common misconception is that your ankle support comes from the height of your boot, and it doesn't obviously hurt to have a higher boot if that's what you're looking for, but the ankle support actually comes from the outsole and the foundation of your shoe. So I felt really secure, kind of rock scrambling on the sandstone, and not once did I feel like I was going to slip off that, which is good because that would have been kind of a high consequence situation. So felt really secure about the outsole on my oboes shoes. And then mixed with my Darn Tough socks too, wool is antimicrobial, which basically means that the waxy fiber of wool doesn't allow bacteria to grow. So you don't have to wash your socks as often. They don't get stinky and funky. And we were really sweaty. It was super hot out there, so I was really thankful for that because my feet weren't super stinky. And then lastly, my cross-trail trekking poles. Having that extra weight on your back can really throw off your center of gravity, and it would be really easy to just kind of topple over. And so having extra 2 points of contact made me feel really safe out there. And I liked having the cross-trail shark grip as well, because the poles were kind of almost like an extension of myself. And it was nice to be able to catch myself if I felt like I was going to slip or anything like that. So just kind of having the right gear can make a really big difference in your experience out there, and I was really thankful to have these things with me. But for now, it's time to head to our next spot. We decided to make one more pit stop in Utah on our way out to stay with our friends Jay and Brooke, who luckily have a huge, flat driveway they were willing to let us park the bus in. So naturally, we repaid them with some delicious Yellowstone bourbon. All right, we just got down the mountain. It's a really hot day here. We are at our friend Brooke and Jay's house, and we are going to unwind with a bourbon milkshake. We've been holding on to this recipe for a place that's really hot, and this is definitely a place to do it. For this drink, you're going to need 6 ounces of your Yellowstone bourbon, 3 cups of ice cream. We're going with the peanut butter candy crunch for this one, and 1.5 cups of whole milk, and then you can just top with some chocolate syrup.
Who's up first?
We spent a couple of days catching up with our friends and also catching up on some rest, and then started our drive towards California.